to any part of the body that is not functioning properly, and direct their mind there, and apologize, say sorry that I have overworked, make you work too hard. And then after that, they do it in their own way. You see the way we use. There are now different methods, different techniques. Techniques they call of relaxation, or self-healing methods. But the basic thing is, when you meditate, when your mind is calm, that mind has the ability to scan around the body. And then you will become more aware of certain imbalances in the body. Don't wait until the pain becomes so strong that you have to see a doctor, that you have to go for X-ray and what else do you have now? They have ultrasound and whatnot. As soon as you observe that there are certain parts of your body, there is some pain, some tension, you should learn the process of relaxation and then watch, correct your habit, the habit pattern, your way of life. This is the natural way how to maintain good health. Otherwise, you have to work very hard to earn a lot of money and use that money for medical bills and so on. And not only that, you live, but work hard. And in your mind, as you work, you have the end. As any sensible being wants to be well, wants to be happy, wants to be successful in life. What does that success mean? What does success mean to you? Success means to earn a lot of money, to have big cars, big house, go for vacation, holiday every year. Success. Prosperity. What about happiness? Success means happiness too. Do you have happiness? If you have happiness, we are not saying that it is wrong to have a lot of money. Acquire whatever you are able to learn, to earn in a righteous manner, without giving harm to yourself or others. that money which is righteously earned will give you less stress, give you the happiness, the peace within your mind. Then, without having a proper balance, if you work without being mindful of the body, what is happening within you, you reach the target, you get your promotion, you become branch manager, director, executives. But what happened? Gastric ulcer, high cholesterol, blood, and high blood pressure. Successful? No? Think. This is why today most people come to temple, become religious when they fall sick, very sick. Doctors cannot help them. Then they come to temple and they say, now, those of you who have come, those who are not so sick, at least you have enough good health to sit quietly. We don't say that anybody here is 100% healthy. Something or other, his body is like that. But as long as there's still some balance within the system, then it does not break down. But when you live without mindfulness, as it goes on, one day the system will break down. Then you have to stop. You take a longer time to repair that system. The Buddha Dhamma shows us the path, the way, how to live a peaceful, a happy way of life. In many of my talks in the past, I've been talking about suffering. And one woman came and told me, every time I hear you talk, suffering. So tonight I will talk about happiness. Surely, the Dhamma teaches us how to be happy, how to be really happy, how to get that kind of happiness that cannot be disturbed by others. Now, I'm sure most of you have the last 1 week been celebrating in a very festive mood, wearing new clothes and eating food, tasty food, delicacy, drinking, having a lot of company and friends, enjoying parties. Maybe not all. Okay? Maybe more. You have enjoyed yourself? How did you enjoy? How did you feel? Now, see how you enjoy. And see how people enjoy eating, drinking, and being with company. They enjoy. There is a certain amount of enjoyment, right? If you only stay at home, nobody comes to your house. Maybe you go to sleep, watch television if you want, eat something and not then go to sleep. But of course, something is taking place within the Buddhist community that the last 1 week or so, more than 1 week, I think that I've been away up north in Kadam, Penang, Perak, and we just came back this morning. I observed, having visited the different Buddhist groups, I see there is a different trend among Buddhist community. Never has there been in the past such interest among the Buddhists to practice, and they take the opportunity of this holiday. You know, in Penang, on the first day of Chinese New Year, we heard at one temple that has 300 people practicing 8% for the whole day, taking simple vegetarian food. Quite different from the usual celebration that they had before. In the past, we don't get. In the past, what we see is many people will queue up, line up, and that even before the temple doors are open, and just offer some incense and a little bit of offering, and then after that, quickly get back home. You do that too? Maybe you don't do that too. But then among some of the younger people, we find that they go retreat. 1 week retreat, meditation retreat here and there. Why? Some of you may not understand. In fact, some of the parents cannot understand why they are doing this. Because these people, more and more people, are beginning to see the realities of materialism. They are beginning to see that eating, drinking, gambling, enjoying this worldly thing now no longer can satisfy their themselves. They cannot be satisfied with those things. They still feel such a amount of emptiness with it. That is why they are seeking another kind of happiness, another kind of enjoyment. In the West, this has happened. It will happen here. As we progress towards 2020, as we become a developed nation, with all the material facilities, naturally, people become more and more materialistic. Naturally, there will be the clinging, attachment to material things. You see, the values of life have changed. The priorities of life change. The good old tradition where children actually come together and have a reunion dinner, and then respecting the elders, giving joy to the elders. But many now begin to see that this kind of reunion dinner has become just a facade, just a show, but no real sincerity. The sincerity, the joy, the happiness of respecting parents, respecting elders, beginning slowly. Because they think they get money enough. Or they give something. Okay. And even the spirit of sharing now forgotten. In the past, not very long time ago, only one generation back, or maybe two, when in this festive season, during this festive season, the younger really go down before their elders to seek forgiveness and to wish them long, healthy lives. Today, they say Happy New Year. In their mind, they think of respect and how much Papa going to give me. Yes, little children now think like that. Little children think like that. They don't think of, of respecting. The idea of respect means money. The idea of wishing means money. They are very shy to greet parents. How many of you, the younger ones, your parents, actually still greet your parents, if not saying worshipping your parents, but at least greet them. To wish them well, really difficult. These are the values that are disappearing. And that is why some are beginning to see this. Parents too are only thinking now of money. And when they bring the friends, they will see who the friends are. The big car. This is what in the West today, there are many people having seen the heights of materialism, having enjoyed themselves in various ways. Those who have enjoyed themselves, they begin to see, they get fed up with that. They see that they cannot satisfy themselves. So they try this way, that way, just to please the senses. Cannot. That is why they begin to seek alternatives, another way. The Buddha or Buddhism has very clearly pointed out there are two kinds of happiness. One kind of happiness is the happiness that you can get through material things. When you are in the company of friends, people, society, when you have a lot of money, wealth, possessions, you have happiness. When you have good food, drink, now all these things can give you happiness. But these things which give you happiness, the kind of happiness is of very fleeting nature. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. Little children, as soon as they receive the answer, they are happy, they laugh, they smile. And sometimes they don't wait until people go. They open and see. Only $2. And they show their healthy face like that. Then they all way out. You invite them, you clean your house nicely, you put special carpet, open house, people come. Only want to entertain them. You don't expect all of them to be sober-minded. They come and they might steal something on your very expensive rough carpet. How do you feel? Very upset. Very upset. But it is the same carpet that has given you some joy, some happiness because you have seen and some of your friends come, beautiful, where did you get this? Then you feel very happy and say, this one is from this place, Persian carpet. Then you feel a little bit proud, isn't it? And then after a little while somebody comes and steals and dirty it, you see the face change. Not so happy now. Now don't want to entertain, want to quickly ask the person to get out. You see how the same thing that given joy, that same thing makes the mind upset. That is the nature of worldly happiness. First you start with all your friends and relatives come, you serve them happily, and you give them, of course, on such important occasion, you give them drinks, make them drink. They talk, and after they talk, nothing more to talk, and they dig up old stories, and then you hear these old stories, you get upset, get very angry. You see how that little joy, that little happiness that you had now changes. Did you observe all these things that happen? If not, still maybe 7 more days, isn't it? For you to watch. 7 or 8 days. Right? You can watch, you can observe this thing happening. I have seen this thing happening. And even before I became a monk, for quite a few years, I was more an observer. I just observed everything. And when people are happy, and when they respect one another, and they have that, what you call reunion, I feel very happy for them. And when they separate, and they say bye-bye, and the tears fall down, then I begin to see, this is happiness to them. And you see, I don't feel sad, but I see this is the nature of the happiness that they enjoy. And when I look back, I realize I have enjoyed in that way too. But now, there is another kind of happiness. And this is what the Dhamma can lead us to. While it is important to understand what this worldly happiness is, it is even more important to understand that there is another kind of happiness which does not depend on material things, does not depend on a mother and father, brother and sister, does not depend on money, does not depend on big houses and cars. No. That is the kind of happiness that you get within, inside you. Whether you sit under a roof ceiling like this, you sit under the canopy of the sky, under the tree, in a simple mud hut, you can still get that peace, that happiness with you. As you said just now, if you have sat and taken the instruction properly, you would have experienced a certain amount of calmness and peace within you. It is only when you experience this kind of calmness and peace again and again that you will be able to see the difference between the gross enjoyment, excitement and thrill and this kind of peaceful, this kind of blissful contentment. Of course, people who are used to excitement and thrills, which they call enjoyment and pleasure, they, in the beginning, they find that the calmness and peace within is very dark, very boring. Because there is no kick, there is no high. That is right. There is no high, there is no low. When you have high, you will have low. First day, Chinese New Year, very high. Second day, low. Third day, high again. Fourth day, low. And fifth day, maybe very low. Like that. There is another kind of happiness. This happiness, you rejoice, how? With goodness, with merit. By avoiding evil and doing good, you will be able to enjoy. Every time you think of some goodness that you have done, some merits that you have done, your mind will be happy. That is why, if you have been doing a good job, honest job, helping others when they are really in need, and now people come to visit you, you look at them now, and you see how they were so miserable a year ago, some months ago, and your assistance, your little help now makes them very happy. Now they come with the whole family to come and see you. You get the joy, you get happiness, right? Now this is how, if you really practice the Dhamma, you can increase your happiness in this manner. Also in a worldly sense, but you not only have this worldly happiness, but you have the joy inside. Get more joy inside. Then, as you develop this, you find that you begin to see meritorious action, good actions pave the way for good thoughts in your mind. Good thoughts gives rise to happiness in your mind. But after you have enjoyed these good thoughts, so sometimes you begin to realize that if you cling on to good thoughts, also not satisfactory, because you think of the goodness, and then when you compare it now, and when you do not have the opportunity to practice goodness, you see, then when you cling on to goodness, when you want to see goodness happening, and if the good things don't happen, you wish others to become good, like your own children. You wish them to be good boys and good girls. And that they must be like this, they must be like that, they must dress in this way, they must talk in this way. But they don't do it in that way. And you get upset. Why do you get upset? Because you cling on to goodness. Even goodness should not be clung on to. Yes. Then you begin to see, when you do good things in life, some people appreciate, some people don't appreciate. If you have done many good things in the past, throughout the year, and then you wait, there are some people who come to see you. Many people don't come to see you. Then sometimes you see them visiting your neighbor. See that fellow, I've done so much good to that person. And he's just next door, he cannot fall over here. And you feel something like that. And sometimes you hear, because this period, you see, people want to make friends, people talk a lot. And what they talk, sometimes they talk good, sometimes they talk bad. Sometimes you do good, they also talk bad about you. How do you feel? Do more good. Then you will see. You will begin to see little and little the unsatisfactoriness of goodness. But goodness is good to do, but not enough. Not good enough. Why? Because people do good. Many people do good actions, but not necessarily with a pure mind. You realize that? There are many people now doing many good actions. You can see in the newspaper, donating to this, donating to that. Big check. You see? They have in their mind. They want to help people, but also they have in their mind so that we can promote our business too. They have some ulterior motive in their mind. Right? Not totally pure mind. Not really motivated out of pure compassion. They still have some intention, some motive in their mind. They are good action, understand, but not pure. You do good as good parents. You discipline your children, but in the process of disciplining, you get angry, right? And when you get angry, you say, surely I must get angry. Why? Because they are not good. When you get angry, that's how they also learn how to get angry. No? If you do good and you yourself upset, you do upset. People do and organize activities, good, to make others happy. But it get angry, they scold people, they shout, they do. It means they still have not purified themselves. Right? That is why they still can get some bad results. So after, it is when you start doing more and more good action, then you begin to see that unsatisfactoriness in it. Then you will want to go one step higher. And that step is the purification of your mind. Purify your mind. How to purify your mind? The process to purify your mind. Buddha talks about how you can develop your concentration. How to develop your concentration to purify the mind. Because purify your mind from what? Purify your mind from the elements of greed, of craving, of desire. The elements of hatred, anger. These are the two main problems. These two defilements arise through ignorance. Through ignorance. Ignorance of what? The ignorance of certain fundamental truth of life. The facts of life. As long as that ignorance, what is the truth of life? The truth of life of cause and effect. As long as you don't understand that this life of ours, of yours, is totally governed by the process of cause and effect, cause and effect. If you do a skillful action, it gives rise to peace, it gives rise to happiness. Perform an unskillful action and you get remorse, you get unhappiness in it. That is why we talk about good action and bad action, or right and wrong, moral and immoral action. Actually, we label them as bad, evil, immoral. But what we really mean is this. That when you perform such action, your mind gets disturbed. Your mind gets troubled. You feel remorseful. You feel that kind of guilty conscience, and you feel that kind of restlessness in your mind. Then you know that action which you have performed is not right. It's not wholesome. It's not skillful. On the other hand, when you perform certain action, your mind becomes more peaceful, more calm. Right? Did you experience this just now? When you send out your thoughts of loving kindness that others be well, be happy, and as you wish others be well, be happy, be free from anger, free from enmity, you find your own mind becoming more and more calm. You realize that one? How did your mind become more and more calm, more and more peaceful? Because you send out, because you arouse good thoughts in your mind. As you arouse these good thoughts, more and more good thoughts in your mind becomes more and more calm, more and more peaceful like that. And your mind is more and more focused. When you train your mind to focus on one object, such as the breath, breathing in and breathing out, you will find that as you practice this, you find that there are thoughts. There are other thoughts coming in and out. But you bring back your attention. And as you bring back your attention, then you get calm. You feel more calm, more quiet inside. Then, as you develop this concentration, your mind will get absorbed. That is what you call the absorption or jhana. Buddha speaks of in the Noble Eightfold Path, Samma Samadhi would explain what right concentration means. Right concentration is the ability to concentrate, to get into these levels of concentration. The first absorption, second absorption, third absorption, fourth absorption. There are other higher levels of absorption. But the Buddha says the right absorption, the basis of right absorption are these four. So when you concentrate on one area, on one point, what happens is when your mind is absorbed with it, then you have the ability at least to temporarily, for that moment, for that few moments, you are able to check and suppress the defilements of anger. No more angry thoughts, no more aversion, no more craving, no more desires thoughts, and sloth and torpor, restlessness, worries, anxieties, all now cut down, and doubts, all are checked. This is how purification takes place in your mind. The mind becomes purified in the process of concentration. When you remove the concentration and you get the absorption, you don't get into absorption as long as there are still anger and craving. You cannot concentrate with anger. Craving. When you get angry, you try to read a book to concentrate, cannot. So, this is how you can control and how anger, craving, these are the main cause along with ignorance. They are the cause of all our suffering. All the bad thoughts, wrong speech, wrong action are conditioned by these three things: greed, hatred, and delusion. Lobha, dosa, moha, greed, hatred, delusion. How can we overcome? The way to overcome greed, craving, anger is to understand, is to confront and understand first, to study what they are, what is the nature. And the Buddha has very clearly pointed out that this greed, this craving, anger, they have arisen as a result of, they become strong as a result of your habits. Craving, anger, is habit. That is why you see, when you can get something, if you want something and you cannot get it, you look and see how the little children, how they behave, and then you can see the little children in your own self, how you behave. Because very often it's difficult to see how you behave. You yourself behave. It's easier to see others. So you watch others and see how they behave. They want something. They want that good food. And you say, no, you have enough. Then what happens to them? They get upset. They get angry. They get upset. Right? Then you give them. They are happy, right? In the afternoon, they want some other thing, and you don't give them. Now he knows. This little child, he knows. This morning when I get a bit angry, I get it. This time I get angry some more. But now, parents don't give him, but he gets more angry. Then parents give up. Okay, keep quiet. People come already. Nothing. Oh, he's very happy already. He gets some more. Then he begins to see, oh, I get angry, I get and the habit. So he starts to form this habit pattern. You see? Why? Even in the family, don't talk of boy and girl, small boy, small girl. Big boy, big girl, husband, wife act like that. You see? When the wife very unhappy, husband go and buy something for her, anything, oh, happy already. And then after that, because this year got one diamond ring, oh, happy. And then next year, no, nothing. And not happy also. And this time she showed very clearly, not happy. Because this is actually, sometimes you do it consciously, sometimes unconsciously, that habit pattern comes up. You see. So, in order to overcome this habit pattern, the habit of craving and the habit of anger, it is very important to make the mind strong. Very often, you listen to Dharma, you know what is good, you know what is bad, you know what are the actions that give rise to suffering. You know that some food, if you take too much, it gives rise to pain. But you cannot stop it. You cannot stop it because it's there. You see? And somehow nobody around, and nobody come, and so much food there. So your mind, very clever mind, and say, why wait? Then some people ask, why is it they know something is no good for them, but still they do it? Why? Why? What is the cause? What is the reason? Because they cannot apply the emergency brake. Emergency brake not strong enough. You see? Mind becomes strong. Then, when your mind is strong, then if you wish for something, if you want that thing, you work towards that. And if you see it enough, you can stop it, because your mind is strong. You see? So this is where the strength of the mind and the concentration is important. And then after you develop this concentration, that is when you get first, second, third, fourth jhana. You actually, during this time, as you get into the absorption more and more, then you'll be able to purify your mind more and longer time. Then you will see that as soon as anger arises, because your mind is now controlled, you can see how the anger arises. You can control it. You can check it. That is where the calmness is of great benefit and advantage. Then you will see that as soon as anger arises, because your mind is now controlled, you can see how the anger arises. You can control it. You can check it. That is where the calmness is of great benefit and advantage. Calm, concentration. But calmness and concentration alone is not enough, because if you have the concentration, you only suppress, you can control those defilements from coming up for some time, as long as your mind is in concentration. When your mind is not concentrated, then it comes up. That is why, after we have gone into concentration, we must know how. We must know the technique of how we can develop wisdom. Wisdom is what? Wisdom is the realization become a series of all our life activities are conditioned by cause and effect. And when we can see the cause and effect, we can see rising and falling. How to see the cause and effect? We must first understand our own mind and body, how they function. When we can separate and see our mind activity and body activity, then we can see how the mind conditions the body, how the body conditions the mind, how cause and effect takes place. When we become clear to see how cause and effect arise, you will see cause arises, and effect arises. As soon as the cause ceases, effect ceases. Then this is where you get the wisdom to see, to realize the impermanence of our mind and body activity, mental and physical activity. It is only when we begin to see the reality of this mind and body that it is impermanent, that we will begin to realize. And when we realize, when we see it, we realize it, then a transformation takes place within us. Within this whole being, the mind undergoes a certain transformation. This time it's not a temporary transformation, it's a permanent transformation. The mind becomes transformed. Then you begin to see your attitudes towards life, towards these things are quite different from before. Understand? And you become more calm, more peaceful by nature, by nature. You don't have to do it artificially. You don't have to really make great efforts to become calm and peaceful. It is by nature. Because what? You have developed your mind, you have controlled your mind, and you have got that wisdom and be able to break the habit pattern. So the way and how to break this habit pattern of anger and craving, you see that anger and craving, what are the cause, what are the support? What are the things that support anger and craving? It is the uncontrolled thoughts. As long as your mind, you are not able to control your thoughts, what you see, you cannot stop at seeing, but you keep on thinking and thinking and thinking what you have seen and what you have heard, you cannot stop at that. If you stop at that, there's no problem. If some people scold you, all the bad words, you only hear the sound, you finish already. When they stop scolding, you stop, no more hearing, no more thoughts, no more problem. But they have stopped scolding you. But you go on thinking and thinking and thinking. They scold you last year, but this year you still go on thinking. When they come to your house, you still think, you still say, you know what last year you told me? And this poor fellow, your relative, your friend says, I have forgotten truly. And you say, this is what you think? And as you remember this, you get angry, more upset. Why you get angry, why you get upset? Because of the thoughts, because you are not able to control your thoughts go on and on and on and on, like that. The moment you are able to control your thoughts, then you see, whatever you see, you can stop there. Whatever you hear, you can stop there. If you smell something, you stop there. No more imagination. You say something, you stop there. No more thinking that, last time tastes better, this time it tastes not so good. But you see, the nature of the worldly life is this. Every time you feed what? Not feed the body only, but feed feed your craving and feed your anger. When you feel like getting angry, you get angry. You don't. People tell you, when you get angry, take deep breath. Or some people tell you, can you get angry, you feel getting angry, count 10. You get very angry, count 100 before you do anything. But you don't think of these things. When you want to get angry, you get angry. You just blow up. That is your habit pattern. So the practice of Dhamma is to control your mind. Learn to control your mind. Then you can control your thoughts. When you can control your thoughts, you will be able to control craving and aversion. And that is how, when you can learn to silence your mind, the next phase of your training is to learn how to silence your mind. And the only way to silence your mind is to know the nature of the thoughts. That all the thoughts are nothing but the 5 aggregates. And when you can, at any time you think how the thoughts arise, through what you see, through what you hear, through what you smell, through what you taste, through what you touch, through what you think. Through these 6 bases, thoughts arise. When the thoughts arise, every thought, there are nama, rupa, mind, body. There is a form, there is the object, the form, there. And the thoughts, as soon as you get a thought, there is a feeling. You perceive them, you remember certain things, you recognize them, that object in your mind, and then mental activities takes place and you are conscious of it. Then there arise these 5, what you call aggregates. These 5 aggregates, they are what you are. As long as you attach to them and think that these 5 aggregates are real, then there is suffering. But the moment you are able to see that these 5 aggregates are nothing but the creation of the mind, that the mind, upon seeing, upon your eyes see something, your mind interprets, and you get the impression of the 5 aggregates. As soon as this thought arises, the 5 aggregates arises. As soon as your thought ceases, the 5 aggregates ceases. There is no reality in these 5 aggregates. There is no value in these 5 aggregates. But the delusion, the deluded mind is that mind that sees these 5 aggregates as real. And therefore, it goes on thinking and thinking and thinking about it. Therefore, it creates, it projects that aggregate as real. Then, that is what you call grasping, the grasping 5 aggregates. Buddha says, it is the grasping 5 aggregates is what you call dukkha. What really the meaning of dukkha is, not only birth, old age, sickness and death. Birth, old age, sickness and death, you know. It is unsatisfaction. Association with people whom you love and have to separate from them is suffering. Association with people whom you don't like and you cannot get away from them is also unsatisfaction, that you can know quite clearly. You expect something and you don't get it, that also is suffering. But the real meaning of dukkha is more than that. It is the grasping 5 aggregates. So, this is what during this retreat that we're going to have tonight, tomorrow, day after, and we will stop on the first, immediately after lunch we will stop the retreat. And those of you who are interested, even if you are not able to come for the full time, if you like to come during the evenings, you are welcome. But we were trying to reserve some place, and partly that you will sit in certain place so that we can hold you up and give you the instructions and you practice. That and we will be able to check you during this Yes. Yes, that's right. Ignorance is the main cause. As long as there's ignorance, as long as the lack of understanding, where there is a lack of understanding of the nature of life, you see. Now, as long as there is ignorance, even you apply at a worldly level, when you will have some problems, when you meet some problems, some difficulties in your life, and you do not know how to solve it, what happens to your mind? Your mind starts to think and think and think, isn't it? If you are doing a mathematical problem, and if you do not know the formula, you start and think and start to do trial and error until. But the moment you know the formula, the moment you know how to solve it, your mind stops thinking. Right or not? That is where we say ignorance is the main cause. As long as there's ignorance conditions thoughts to arise in the mind. Thought condition one, the five aggregates to arise. That's how suffering arises. Right? So, develop. Some people say that is why you see today people have compartmentalized in the study of arts and sciences. In the university, today there's so much of specialization. Right? So people say this is mathematics, this is history, this is geography, this is science, and so on. And also in Buddhism also, they say this is sila, this is samadhi, this is panya. Right? For the purpose of understanding, for the purpose of teaching, convey this information to you in a systematic manner, we use this method of classification. Right? But in reality as to how it functions, art and science are interrelated. Right? Do you realize that? You want to do mathematics, you think you don't need art subject? If you cannot read English and you cannot read languages, can you do your mathematics? You cannot solve the problem. Okay? And so, the teachings of the Buddha, we say sila, samadhi, panya. Morality, concentration, wisdom, they are interrelated. We talk about wisdom, how to develop the mind. We talk about concentration and insight. We cannot separate and say concentration is concentration, insight is insight like that. Concentration leads to insight. Insight leads to concentration. Understand? This is the law of dependent origination. We will talk about this law of dependent origination later on. As I said, we're going to have how many nights? Tonight? Huh? Tomorrow night. Tomorrow is the 30th, isn't it? And on the 31st we'll make you practice. Right? Full. Then on the 1st, not so many. Right? Anyway. Before I conclude, do you have any one or two questions that you want to ask? Do you have any questions that you want to ask? Yes. That's right. The five aggregates, yes. What are the five aggregates? Good. The five aggregates are these. One, there is an aggregate of form. That's the physical process. What you are able to see. When you look at one another, you are able to see the form, the shape, the size, right? Which are conditioned by certain elements. The physical elements, the coming together of the physical elements which have molded your physical form. And these physical elements, they are analyzed and in the ancient times, during the time of the Buddha, the medical science analyzed it in the form of earth, water, wind, fire. Apo, Tejo, Vayu, Patavi, or Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu. Patavi means earth element. Earth element is the solidity. All the calcium, phosphorus, the carbon, all those particles from the earth, they give rise to form, right? If there are more of those forms, more of those elements become hard. If there is less of it, it becomes soft. So hardness and softness is a quality of the earth element, right? Then water element is the liquidity, liquid. That liquid of cohesiveness. When there is some liquid water, then you feel, when you perspire, you have water, you feel sticky, right? You get very upset. But you need water in you. If you don't have water, all those elements or the earth elements, when the wind blows, it will fly away. If you don't have that, water element helps to make all the other particles cling on to, right? That is the liquid element. Then there is the heat element, the fire, that is the temperature in you. Then there is the wind element, the gaseous element, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and also other oxides. And that breath in and out is the thing that controls movement, vibration of energy, movement. The characteristic of wind is movement, right? And that's why if you don't breathe and don't breathe in and don't breathe out, your body becomes still, no movement, right? So these are the four basic elements that condition what you call rupa or form. Then you have feeling process, the aggregate of feeling. Feeling is not made up of matter, right? It's not made up of any of these earth elements, not made up of water, not wind, yes. It is a feeling process, it is a mental process, right? Perception, your ability to cognize, is also a mental process. Your ability to think, to conceptualize, to form ideas and imagination, that's what you call mental formations or sankara. That's another mental process. And then consciousness, your ability to become aware of something that is present before you, that is consciousness process. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. Now these processes, the four things, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness, they are what we call the mental process, what constitutes the mind. And what we feel, we perceive, what we perceive, we conceive in our mind, what we conceive, that we become conscious of. Although we divide them into four, it does not mean that the mind has these four parts like that. Understand? It's a stream, the mind is a stream of conscious energy. And it functions. It has its function. It functions in this way that you get the feeling and you're able to perceive and then you're able to remember. So by what you remember, by what you have learned, you're able to cognize what you feel, how you feel. And then you start thinking, you start forming your concepts and ideas. And those concepts, ideas that you form in your mind, you become conscious of. So this is how we call the mind. We call the mental process. So these are the five aggregates, five bundles of energy. And what we are in reality, when you divide, analyze this whole being of ours into mind and body. And we talk about the five aggregates. But these five aggregates are constantly in the state of flux, in the state of change. There is nothing within this body and mind, there is nothing that remains static in 2 moments. right? Continual change. But the mind, the deluded mind, the uncultivated, untrained, deluded mind cannot see it. Sees it as real. Clings onto it. And therefore, when you cling onto your body, which is constantly changing, naturally there's a suffering. When the body grows old, when your hair starts falling off, starts to change color and fall off, very well, you get worried. When your skin starts to show different colors and wrinkles, and then, when body cannot function properly, then you get worried. That is because of attaching to something that is constantly changing. That is where the wisdom is necessary to see that this mind and body is constantly changing. Then, when you are able to see, when you are able to realize this, then you will be able to live a more normal life. Now, as long as you are not able to see clearly, you live a little bit. You are extraordinary. You are not really ordinary, but extraordinary. Do you realize that everyone who has this state of mind, as long as the mind cannot see clearly, they all like to be a little bit different from another. You see? That is why you don't always keep your hair straight. Because the other person is straight, I'll make my hair come out here. And the other one twists this way, I'll twist the other way. Right? The other one goes down, I'll go up like that. Until, they have the funky style and, they put starch and sugar and all sorts of things. Why? Because they want to see extraordinary. Even you go to work also, you always feel that, not really ordinary, but little bit extraordinary. So what we want to make you is really ordinary. Really normal, ordinary person. Through what? Through the process of wisdom, developing your wisdom. When you see yourself as changing, then you really feel very ordinary. No more extraordinary. Okay? Right, I think it's sufficient tonight. Officially we will close, but we will give you opportunity, and those of you who have come for registration, if you will talk to you and the program and so on. Okay? And so before we conclude, we'll just spend a few more moments, 5 minutes for you to calm down your mind and then share the merits, and you can make your aspirations. Keep your body upright. You can take a few deep breaths. Feel your body relax as you breathe in and breathe out, and free your mind. Whatever thoughts that arises, just free your mind and just keep your mind in the present. You do this by focusing your mind just above your upper lip. Just above your upper lip, between the septum, the middle of your nose and your upper lip. Just keep your attention around there, one area, one spot around there, and then breathe in, breathe out normally, as if you breathe in and out through that area. Any thoughts, any distraction that comes to your mind, bring back your attention to that area, the spot just above your upper lip, and breathe in and breathe out normally. If you breathe in and breathe out, just observe the calm, just observe the silence, the quietness within you. And you will just radiate out this calm, peace, above, below, and all around. And have the good thoughts in your mind. That just as you wish to be well and happy, calm and peaceful, may all beings all around you, above, below, and all around, covering this whole hall, beyond this hall, to as far as your mental vibrations can reach, that all beings, known or unknown to you, seen or unseen, may all be well, may all be happy, be free from anger, free from enmity or grudge, free from suffering, mental and physical, free from fear, worry, and anxiety. May all live in peace and happiness. Just keep that all in your mind, that may all beings be well and happy. Well and happy. In your wholesome state of mind, now share this merits with all the devas, all the deities, all celestial beings and radiant ones, wherever they may be, known or unknown to you, all those who have protected, looked after you, wherever they are, may they rejoice in this merits, may they be well, may they be happy. And spend a few moments also to dedicate these merits, all the goodness, the good thoughts that you have generated. Think of your departed relatives and friends. Just have the good wish in your mind that wherever they are born, may they have opportunity to receive the Dharma, to lead a good way of life, and pave the way for them to be free from all suffering. With all the good thoughts that you have done, all the merits that you have performed, now make your aspiration, have the good wish in your mind, that all these merits will pave the way for you to further develop, to strengthen and purify your mind, so that you will be able to confront and overcome whatever difficulties, whatever obstacles that arise in your life. That you will be able to grow in wisdom and compassion and make good use of your lives, not only for your own happiness, but also for the welfare, for the happiness of the many. May all the merits pave the way for you to succeed in what you do, in your studies, in your work, that you will progress in your life. Fulfill your duties, obligations, worthy duties, obligations, and at the earliest opportunity, may you all be able to walk the noble path, attain the path and friction, realize the place of Nirvana, and be free from all suffering. Bhavatu Sattva Mangalam Rakkantu Sattva Devata Sattva Buddhanubhavena Sattva Sokti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sattva Mangalam Rakkantu Sattva Devata Sattva Dhammanubhavena Sattva Sokti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sattva Mangalam Rakkantu Sattva Devata Sattva Sanghanubhavena Sattva Sokti Bhavantu Te. May you all be able to fulfill your good wish, your aspiration. By the power of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and all their merits, may all the wishes be fulfilled. May you all have long, healthy, happy lives. May you all be well and happy always. be well and happy always. You must know how to be well and happy for even 1 minute. You have become well and happy for few minutes. Half an hour or more than that. Since you sit here, you have no anger. You don't have desire, strong desire and anger. You well and happy. But when you go back home, when mother or children say, why so late? Be careful, don't get angry. And then tomorrow too, watch, don't get angry. So make your mind strong. So wish you all can become happy.